The
Can't quite keep up with you.
I forgot. Welcome to this information session on the Professional Diploma in Dispute Resolution and Mediation. I have with me on this call, on this presentation, my colleague from Mediator Academy, Sabine Walsh, and also Professor Brian Hutchinson from UCD Sutherland School of Law. So before I pass the ball over to Sabine and Brian, I'll just walk you through a little agenda, what we've got in store for you. We shall begin by taking a deep dive into the curriculum and looking at the topics and some of the experts that will shape your knowledge of dispute resolution and mediation on this program. You'll then get some practical insights about the various assessment methodologies and processes, the time commitment required for this program, and any other useful practical tips that my colleagues will be sharing with you. And then we shall unlock the world of online learning and give you an insight into the interactive and innovative approach to learning that will really enhance your experience of learning online, but also give you a glimpse into how you will be learning skills, really crucial skills through this medium of learning. And then we'll open the floor to any questions that you might have. So, and just a little bit of housekeeping. I can see you've all got your microphones off, which is splendid. And if you've got any questions during the talk, pop them in the chat box. And then we shall be passing the microphone over to you at the end. And you can speak directly to Sabine or Brian. All right, well, before I start with the curriculum, let me just ask Brian, perhaps you could introduce yourself, say a little bit about the university and the School of Law there.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. I've been a professor here, or member of faculty, since 1991. I'm starting to get a hang of it, so I feel I can tell you a little bit about the place. UCD is Ireland's largest university. The law school here in UCD is Ireland's oldest and longest established university law school. And we have had a hand in the training of many more than just lawyers in the history of the state, because, of course, law here is typically an undergraduate discipline. So many of our students go on to a wide range of other activities in the world, business, administration, civil service, international relations, NGOs, etc., etc. And we've developed a pretty good reputation. We're well ranked in the international world. We're a top 200 law school worldwide. We routinely come high in the Q rankings. And I guess that's because we do a lot of research here as well as teaching. So a lot of what we do is informed by our experiences in the real world and in the world of research as well. And we like to think that that influences our approach to teaching. So it's with great delight, really, that we have this opportunity to work with Mediator Academy, who are leaders in the practical field of mediation training as well, to be able to bring you this program. I'm very excited about this program, and have been since its inception, because this is an opportunity really to delve into the world of disputes in a way that we don't often have the luxury of doing in a law school. That is to say, going beyond the legal principles that are applicable and looking at the real causes of the disputes and the real solutions to the disputes and ways of managing or improving or perhaps resolving, as the case may be. And it's eye-opening. I mean, I would recommend to any lawyer that they should be doing this for a start, those who profess to be resolving disputes, because the dimensions are very broad. But if you have any role in working with others in conflict situations, managing difficult problems when it comes to working or dealing with others, then this program can really help you and I think ultimately your work. Why is that? Because we focus upon first the causes of conflict. We focus upon the factors which influence the way in which people enter into disputes, the things that motivate them through disputes, and perhaps sometimes the sight which is lost within disputes. And so by having a toolkit to be able to analyze disputes, we then move on to the techniques that can be used to resolve. In this program, and I'll let Sabine talk a little bit more about the detail of those focuses. In this program, the lectures are delivered in online and in a pre-packaged fashion. They involve a mix of text-based and video deliveries. And the nice thing about it, if you're not already aware, of course, is that much of this you can do in your own time, and you can do over and over again in your own time if you didn't get it the way you wanted the first time round. Although our experience is that people tend to sometimes even binge on this because it's quite good stuff. Deep and rich and tasty. In terms of, as Aleta has said, the amount of time required from you, that's to some degree a personal thing, but Sabine can confirm for me that each of the modules is broken into a series of units. How many packages and units would there be in each, would you say, Sabine?
So in each module, there are 4 different units, which are made up of 10 lessons each.
Yeah, so that gives you 40 really, isn't it, interactions?
Thereabouts, yes.
Yeah.
And of course, what we don't include in all that is the time for sort of reading and research and that sort of thing. And so we do estimate that it is a part-time program, but that it requires an effort of around about 20 hours a week. So I was going to
say the same thing in terms of both watching and engaging. You can make it more. It probably would be hard pushed to make it less, because to watch and to follow through, unless you're skimming, it will take you the good bones of that 20 hours. Now, it's not head scratching, hair pulling engagement. I think you'll find this is very, very cleverly and thoughtfully put together, very engaging, with interventions from some of the world's leading lights in the world of dispute resolution and mediation. And it goes beyond just giving you the bare bones. I think the magic of this, the beautiful thing about it, is the in-depth personal insights from the skillful mediators and dispute resolvers around the world. Who are giving candid views on dispute resolution, which you can put to good use in your activity afterwards. So in terms of engagement, then you need to sit down and watch and read the thing online. That is done through our platform, which is called Brightspace, which is a fairly standard online learning platform. You log in, the information is there, you tick through it. It's a little bit more than just a hard drive, in the sense that it will report back to you the amount of time that you've engaged. It will include quizzes and interventions where you can measure your activity. And sometimes to progress, you need to clear one hurdle before you do the next. So you're going to know how you're doing as you go along. So it's interactive in that sense as well. And we will supplement those engagements of yours every so often with some online live sessions. We keep that to about 2 to 3 per module. That's roughly 1 a month, which we do in this fashion by Zoom. Normally what we'll do is we'll have a little talk to break the ice. We'll do a couple of little exercises where you'll break into groups and discuss with each other, and we'll have a sort of a plenary closing on it as well, so that we know that everybody's on board, who's with us, who's up to speed, who needs to go and do more, and you'll get the same sense yourself. I think that's very rewarding, because generally speaking, we find that the people doing the program are quite engaged. and also have a lot to bring to it, because, you know, nobody has a monopoly on life situations or disputes. What about assessment? Well, the program is divided into 3 modules. Sabine is going to talk more about them in detail, but you'll have got a sense that the first one is about approaching disputes. The second part is about managing disputes. And the third part is about regulating disputes. The third part will look at the law which governs mediation, for example, and other forms of dispute settlement. And also we'll look at the variety of rules and regulations which can be applied to those. And each of those modules is assessed. And those assessments go through to your diploma at the end of the day. And we use a different assessment model for each one. The first one is done by MCQ, that's multiple choice questions answered online. So all of that is done in the comfort of your own office or bedroom, wherever you happen to be online, over a limited time frame, but you've opportunity to scroll back and forth, etc., and to manage your answer to the questions. And we'll give more detail about how those are marked before you undertake. The second module, which is the focus on the techniques used to resolve disputes, that is assessed by an analytical critique. So you will be presented with some examples of a mediation, for example, and you would be asked to compare and contrast and also add some pointed questions. So that's slightly more practical, skills focused, as we look at, you know, how might that person have managed this dispute situation differently? What would you have done if you were the mediator in this case? Do you agree, disagree, etc.? Along with some maybe pointed questions about, well, let's change the scenario. What if this bit were different? How would you do it now? And I think you should find that practical, but also challenging. The final module, which is focusing on how we regulate disputes and dispute management, culminates in what we call a capstone project. So rather than set you a dry exam on mediation law, which we're experts at setting, incidentally, we want you to get something slightly more fulfilling, and it's this. We ask you to choose an area of your life or your professional activity to which you might apply the learnings from the program. So you might say, I work in employment, and a problem we have is that a lot of employees are afraid to assert their rights. I'm making this up as I go along, but my point is you should be able to take some part of your activity and to show how you've got something useful from the program, and maybe we would hope sow the seed for something that you could take further, because we don't like to think of this as being the end, but rather, I know it's a cliche, the beginning, a new path or a new career for you. And frankly, from my own experience in this area, this is a human science. You never stop learning, and oftentimes you relearn and you reassess things you have learned and maybe come to different conclusions along the way too. But I can guarantee you one thing. I've never met anybody who's done this program or worked in the field who hasn't got some sense of fulfillment out of it and some sort of a feeling for how better to organize their own lives and their own activities afterwards, and maybe make the world a better place. That's a tall order, but I think we're doing a good job, and I hope you will enjoy it. I'm sure you will. I'll be here to answer more questions about the detail afterwards, but there's one which I will point to now, which is how much does the program cost and how can you pay for it? And the answer to that question is it costs 4,450 euros for the whole program. And that can be paid in installments via University College Dublin, I believe in 2 installments. And the good news for those of you who are Irish taxpayers, I can't speak to all, is that this is tax deductible. So that goes off your tax bill at the end of the year. So give the money to the taxman if you like, but give it to us and we'll give you a stonking program, I promise.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Brian. And just like mediation, which is a flexible process, so too is this session. For we've covered the practical insights in great detail, and now I'm going to throw the ball over to Sabine Walsh, who will talk you through the curriculum, the different modules, and get into the details on some of the learning outcomes. Sabine.
Thank you. Thanks, Alice. And thank you, Brian. So I think Brian has given you a sort of an overview of the thrust of the programme, and really what we were aiming to achieve in the design of this programme is to get the balance between theory and practice, and wrap it up in a package and a method of learning that you can engage in alongside the rest of your life, whether that's work or family or ultra running or whatever else you might be doing when you're not learning. So the program consists of 3 modules that really, each of which builds on that has come before it. Module 1 is dispute analysis and intervention, and is intended really to lay the theoretical foundation for the program. So it addresses issues such as causes of conflict and conflict analysis, different dispute and conflict interventions and why they work and how they work. We look at neuroscience, the brain and conflict styles, and also the various different approaches to dispute resolution. In the context of that module, we also look at communication and communication skills, as really a lot of conflict arises out of communication, or indeed the lack thereof, and some of the main tools we have at our disposal for intervening in conflict are based around communication. So that's module 1, and as I say, it offers you the opportunity to both lay a strong theoretical foundation for the skills that you will learn, and also, we'd like to think, engage in a little bit of self-development and self-reflection on your own approaches to conflict and beliefs around conflict and personal strategies. Module 2 then trains the lens on the more practical aspects of this subject. So we're looking at, obviously, mediation and the mediation process, mediation skills, but also negotiation to quite an extensive level, and on different aspects of negotiation, both within the mediation process and outside of the mediation process, in the context of possibly, direct negotiations between parties or their lawyers. We are also keen to keep, even though this program is in Ireland, to focus on a cross-cultural aspect to that. So look at different cultural factors that influence negotiation, mediation, and other dispute resolution processes. And staying with the practical end of things, we look at the sort of process parameters around mediation. So paperwork, drafting agreements to mediate, drafting settlement agreements, ensuring enforceability, different process models and different approaches to mediation, and so forth. Finally, then, to add another layer on top of that, just when you think you've understood everything about conflict and have fantastic mediation skills, we want to, first of all, in Module 3, give you a regulatory framework into which to slot your new skills and processes. That regulatory framework, we look at that both from the perspective of Irish law and international and cross-border law. We do look at it from an Irish perspective, again, not just because we're an Irish university or working with an Irish university, but as is becoming increasingly apparent, actually, when Alan and I engage with our partners and students and other people in other jurisdictions, that Ireland, for once, is very much at the vanguard of both the regulation of mediation and, as a result, the practice and uptake of mediation. due to the Mediation Act, which has been in force now for, nearly 6 years now. 6 years actually this month, yes. And we would like to think, and it has been our experience that people have undertaken this program from other jurisdictions with a view to learning from the Irish experience and bringing it back to their own jurisdictions where maybe mediation law is at an earlier stage of development. Finally, then, obviously, we live in the age of technology, and that is also extending into the world of dispute resolution. So the third module also addresses the issue of ODR, online dispute resolution, and technology, and different developments in technology that impact mediation, not least the rapid transition to working online and using online tools as a result of COVID and the ensuing sort of shift in how technology is viewed in the mediation space, really. Whereas I think it's safe to say that in the past, only a small group of mediators were interested in bringing technology into mediation. That group has expanded dramatically, partly by necessity. And so we have a look at some of those issues. And the assessments that Brian was talking about, I just wanted to add, are very much designed to, you know, not to catch you out or stress you out, but to enable you to kind of to assess your own level of learning and your thinking about your learning, but also to take your learning and apply it in the case of module 2 to some hypothetical scenarios. And then in module 3 to your own context and your own work situation. And I know former students have found this particularly useful and, you know, applied their learnings to a range of different settings, such as banks, law firms, international organizations, and so on. So it really does give you the opportunity to make it your own and to make the program your own and apply it to your own context, while at the same time, of course, learning from and with other professionals and other students, and from our faculty of both Irish and international experts, which range from obviously mediators, arbitrators, lawyers, members of the judiciary, and other people who are really at the forefront of the mediation and dispute resolution world internationally. So that's my kind of whistle-stop tour of the modules and your learning.
Thank you very much, Sabine. And Sabine and Brian, you've both sort of alluded to some of the students that have come through this program, and they've been from a diverse range of backgrounds and from all around the globe. We've had solicitors, private practice, and in-house. We've had senior members from some of the largest banks who are dealing with conflict constantly. We've had people working in international organizations, NGOs, and a whole range of other practitioners. Interestingly, all of which have been in full-time employment. So this is a program that they've been able to do in their own time, alongside a busy professional life and also family life. So it's a really flexible way of learning, and we've designed it in such a way that will accommodate all of your needs, which is actually our #1 priority. So you've got a little bit of an insight into the program, the curriculum, and now we're going to lift the lid a little bit and really explain how you will be learning skills, mediation skills, through this program. One of the challenges with learning mediation is everything is confidential. So getting the opportunity to actually peek inside a mediation room is only for the privileged few. But we've been able to create a number of different simulations that will really give you a golden opportunity to see a mediation from the inside, but also not just from the mediator's perspective, but from the party's perspective, and also from the lawyer's perspective. So I've got a two-minute video, which I'll just roll for you now. If you could bear with me. Sabine, can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. All right. So 2 minutes.
Question we often get asked is, how will I learn skills online? Our programs are specifically designed to maximize your acquisition of skills. And one feature of our learning design is the use of educational video. Now, we use video in a number of different ways, and designing effective and engaging educational video takes quite a lot of science and a little bit of Hollywood. We use case study simulations to enable you to experience a dispute as it unfolds through all the different stages. From the initial client and counsel meetings to without prejudice negotiations, into the mediation itself, and right through to the agreement stage. You get to learn about the impact of the different stages of the process on all participants involved in the dispute, from the lawyers to their clients and the mediator, him or herself, through intimate video journals. You also get to see skills in action, not just once, but as many times as you want, so that when it comes to the live sessions, you get to practice them with your peers, and of course, get real-time insight and analysis from a range of leading international experts. Not to mention, of course, the all-important feedback and coaching that you'll receive from faculty. That is just one way that you'll be learning skills online.
Excellent. So,
There you go.
So that is a short, sharp whistle-stop tour of the Professional Diploma in Dispute Resolution and Mediation. And now we'll open the floor to questions. So do we have any questions?
We do have one from Una. Una, thanks for that. And the question is, can you proceed to a PhD program after this course? Not directly is the answer. Most PhD programs nowadays will require you to go through some sort of a master's level program as well. But you may find that, depending upon where you choose to do your PhD studies, that there will be credit given for what you've done here. So this is a recognized level 9 postgraduate diploma. It comes with a number of what we call European transfer credits. So it is often a credit which is applicable, let's say, towards some deduction in the length of time done at a master's level program, or indeed at PhD. But it's not normal these days for PhD programs to actually take direct intake anyway. They nearly always require you to go through some sort of a master's level beforehand. It could do you no harm, I would say. If PhD is your ultimate goal, I think this is a fantastic place to start if you want to do PhD in this area. Because I honestly, and this isn't just hyperbole for the sake of encouraging you to do this course, I don't know of any other course that goes into the bones of dispute resolution, particularly mediation and negotiation, quite the way this one does. And unless you were doing a full master's, which wouldn't give you the scope, you would be unlikely to delve into it in such a way that would give you sort of so many avenues to expand upon afterwards. So in contrast to this program, many of the courses that are out there are geared towards either the practice of mediation or quickly learning mediation skills, etc., but without the background. So I think this is certainly a good base for PhD studies, but the answer to your question is it's not a direct gateway to PhD.
Thank you, Brian. Any other questions? If you have a question, you can raise a hand. Okay.
Clear. Everything is clear, clearly.
We're still clear. That's excellent. Well,
and of course, we are available as well. Sorry, Alan, to cut across you. We're available as well on email and LinkedIn and everywhere else. If anything occurs to you afterwards, we will be sharing the recording of this as well, because I know we had a lot of people who couldn't just make it at this time. So we will be sharing this as well.
And if you're wondering, do I need to decide quickly and get myself registered and get in, or is this something I'll put off until later? The nice thing about the delivery mechanism is it's a rolling start. So you can start when you're registered, and when you register, therefore, is kind of the key. And we're gearing towards having everybody on board by the 5th of February, which still allows some time for you to talk to those around you, to see who might be able to support you in this, or to get some more input and feedback from us, if you like. So the guillotine hasn't fallen, so to speak, on this one yet. So don't feel that pressure. We're hoping that we'll see as many of you as possible in this program, and rest assured you can start tomorrow or you can start in 2 weeks' time, and it won't change the dynamic for you or for us.
excellent. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for your attention and for joining this session. We've recorded it, so we will be sending it out just in case you want to watch it again. And
send it to anybody you think might be interested. The more, the merrier.
Yeah, feel free to share the link. Yes,
absolutely.
As they say over here. Yeah,
exactly. And wishing you all well, and hopefully we see as many of you on the 5th of February.
Yes. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, guys.